For more, we're going to across to SABC News Correspondent in New York, Sherwin Bryce-Pease. So, Sherwin, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us, perhaps giving us the update. According to U.S. Coast Guard estimates, the Titan's 96 hours of breathable oxygen supplies are thought to be exhausted. So what's the latest regarding the story as we speak?
Yeah, that seems to be the narrative right now, right? The dwindling air supply aboard the Titan submersible vehicle that, as you mentioned, is running very close or to the 96 hours that it had available in terms of oxygen supply once it began that dive on Sunday. So the speculation will grow that, these people the 5 people on board are, essentially staring death in the face, if you will. That, of course, is not the official narrative yet. Search and rescue operations continue. A number of vessels, as you correctly point out, Liesl, have descended on the vicinity where these banging noises were picked up late Tuesday, early Wednesday morning by a Canadian surveillance aircraft. We understand that various remote vehicle operating vehicles have descended to the depths. A Canadian remote vehicle has descended to the depths of the ocean floor, is now scouring that floor to see if it can find the Titan. We also understand that a submersible robot vehicle that can dive to depths beyond where the ocean floor is, we're talking here about 6,000 meters, 6 kilometers. The Titanic, as you well know, is lying at the ocean floor at a depth of around 4,000 meters. So this remote vehicle, we understand, has arms, remote operatable arms that can cut, that can move and maneuver at these ocean depths. So the search and rescue operation is continuing, but as we correctly point out, the air supply aboard the Titan is dwindling. Let's listen to what York Kaufmann of the German Federal Maritime and Hydrographic Agency had to say about this.
Usually the activity to save oxygen would be to stop all unnecessary activities. Now, from the pictures that I have seen of this vehicle, there is not much that you can do inside the pressure hull. It's very limited space with 5 people in this vehicle of a little less than 7 meters. So there is not really much that you can do to save oxygen. Others than sitting and doing nothing, and that's what most likely all the 5 people will do inside, as they have no space to move around or do anything else.
Liesl, the other thing that we are hearing is that these are very experienced adventurers, explorers on board. So how they have been able to pace themselves over the last 72 hours, how they have been able to limit maybe their use of the very limited oxygen supply, we don't know that, right? We haven't been able to have any communication with the people on board. So we actually don't know what the situation is aboard that craft and whether that craft is in fact still intact, Liesl.
No, absolutely, Sherwin. We're trying to also anticipate the scenarios unfolding once the oxygen supply, does run out. Could the submersible vessel have exploded? What other scenarios could have occurred at this point?
Yeah, we're hearing that explosion is one scenario. This is a carbon fiber made Titan submersible vessel. Untested, uncertified is certainly what we've heard from groups like the Maritime Technology Society that flagged concerns around the makeup of this vessel, its structure, its lack of certification process. They wrote a letter in 2018 reading as follows: our apprehension is that the current experimental approach adopted by OceanGate could result in negative outcomes from minor to catastrophic that would have serious consequences for everyone in the industry. So they flagged their safety concerns about the makeup of this vessel as far back as 2018. The other option is that this vessel, having lost power, is stuck on the ocean floor, but you have very, very heavy currents in this area, 600 kilometers off the Canadian coast of Newfoundland. And so there is speculation that this vessel, having lost power, could have drifted in any direction. There's also some speculation that it might be stuck inside or under some parts of the Titanic wreckage. It had gone down to view. This is a wreckage that went down in 1912. It is rusted. It is continuing to break apart. And this Titanic vessel, Liesl, has been built has been built so that it can get very close to the wreckage. So did it get too close? Is it stuck within the wreckage? Did something collapse? You know, these rusted materials of the Titanic, did something pin the Titan down? And then, of course, as we pointed out, this is a very vast area. The search size is double the state of double the size, of the state of Connecticut. So this is a vast search area. Even though it might have, gone underwater at a certain point, the area that is being searched and navigated is quite vast right now. So this vessel could be anywhere.
Has there been any update from Ocean Gate? Who takes accountability at this point? What were the terms of negotiation or the NDA signed upon entering the submersible?
We don't have all that information. We do understand that, tourists boarding this vessel would need to sign a waiver. What exactly that waiver says, we are not privy to at this point. Ocean Gate, of course, being very mum in terms of, what has happened here. What we also understand is that for this vessel to maneuver underwater, it has to receive instructions from a vessel that is at the surface. Essentially, navigation instructions are sent to the submersible from a ship above the ocean via text message. So if communication has then been lost, we understand also that the Titanic is maneuvered through a video game joystick type apparatus. So it's very rudimentary. And if it has lost communication with the mothership on the surface, it would then be essentially floating blind or certainly under, at depths of 4,000 meters. A great deal of pressure on this vessel, this uncertified vessel. So the speculation is that this thing might have imploded. But that is yet to be confirmed, Liesl.
Any response from family members or relatives as we speak?
Well, these our family members are around the world. You'll understand that there's a British billionaire, a Pakistani-born British millionaire, and his son, a French explorer, and of course the owner of the Ocean Gate, the CEO of Ocean Gate, is maneuvering. So we imagine a great deal of concern and still a great deal of hope from the families, but to the specificity, I think a great deal of anxiety, certainly not just for those families, but I imagine also the people that are searching for this vessel right now.
Sherwin, thank you for that update. Sherwin Bryce-Pease, our correspondent in New York, bringing us the latest there. Rescuers racing against time to find a missing submersible vessel off the coast of North America. That search continues.